Hi, welcome to Coding Bootcamp's YouTube channel. Subscribe now and join our live stream session later. See you.
What's up, guys? We're going to go ahead and take a look here at our first project, okay? And what this project is it's a simple bash script to check the disk usage on your server, okay? So we have the script here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break this down line by line, letter per letter. We're going to type this up together on our virtual boxes, okay? So first line here, we should be very familiar with this, right? This is our hash string, right? And the next four lines here are actually variables that we're setting values for, all right? The first variable is called max. We're setting that equal to 95. The second variable is called email. We're setting that equal to server at 127.0.0.1. Guys, this is a loopback address, okay? And this is actually just going to send the mail back to our current server, right? In this variable here, you could actually put whatever server you want, an email address you would want on the server, all right? You'd have to put a SFTP server here, okay, SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol server here, all right? Or you could put an email address in here to actually set up where this server would send this email, okay? Now, guys, if you put an email address in here, that would be a little bit more complicated. Your server couldn't necessarily just resolve what that email address means, okay? So just keep in mind that with this script for this email variable that you can set it up in a way that it will actually email your personal email when you want this to alert you, okay? Right now we just put in a loopback address as an example. And then the third variable we have here is just SDA1, okay? This is simply just a string, guys. We're just setting this variable equal to SDA1. And then the fourth variable we have set here is called use. We're setting this equal to a very long string of commands here. So it's df-h, and we're piping that into grep. And we're looking for this variable, which we said here, SDA1. We're piping that to awk. We're going to use the awk command print 5. Now, guys, this can be confusing. I know this looks like a variable, but this is actually a built-in function of awk, okay? This is just saying print the 5th column. Okay. And then we're piping this into the cut command. We're saying use the delimiter %, and take the first field. Okay. Now, guys, I'm going to show you this command here, line by line here in a moment, but I'm going to go on with the rest of the script here. So finally, we have our if-then statement. So we say if variable use, and we have -gt, which means greater. So if variable use is greater than variable max, so if this variable here is greater than 95, then we're going to echo %used. We're going to give this variable here, whatever this says, saying, hey, the %used is blank, whatever this variable equals. We're going to pipe that into the mail command. So we have mail -s, which is subject. So the subject's going to be running out of disk space, and we're going to send it to email, which is this value here, end, okay? So guys, top to the bottom, this script is finding out this use variable here. It's assigning it a value, and then we're using our if-then statement to say, hey, if this value is greater than 95%, we have an issue, right? Because our disk space is over 95% used. So go ahead and email me with the subject line running out of disk space. Okay? So let's look at this on our virtual box together here. Go to my virtual box. Pull that up here. Alright, get this lined. Oops. There we go, okay. So let's run that use command first. Oops, sorry guys. The mouse is going crazy on me. Here we go. So we're going to look at that use command first. So the first one was df-h, right? We should be familiar with df-h. So when we do df-h, you see it lists all the disks here, file system, size, used, available, %used, and what it's mounted on, right? So we're going to do df-h, and the next part of that was a pipe grep, and we used the part variable. Now remember the part variable, we just said it was SDA1, right? the value assigned to that part variable was SDA1. So that's what we're doing here. We're just going to put in SDA1. We're not going to put the variable because we haven't declared that variable yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and put what the value is here, just so you guys can see what this command line is doing. So we say grep SDA1. Okay. Let me go back to my homework here. So we've looked at the first two parts here. So we've looked at the df-h. We've looked at the grep part. All right. So let me run the second part of that command. So we've done grep SDA1. So we see the original output here. We saw all this, but now he said pipe it to grep SDA1. Let's see what happens. Okay, awesome. So it gave us just this line here, right? Which you can see here. That was this line, but since we did grep, it only spit out this line for us. Cool. So let's look at the next part of the command and what it's doing. So now we're piping that to something called awk. And what awk does, guys, based off of what you give on the command here, is it just takes a certain column, okay? In this case, the $5 means, hey, give us just the 5th column of the output, okay? So let's go to our VirtualBox here. And let's see what happens when we do that. So we've done df-h to spit out all the available file systems. We've done a grep SDA1 to say, hey, give me just the line that has grep SDA1. Then we're going to do the awk command. We're going to do single quote, curly brace. And guys, this is just how you set up this part of the command. So you're just going to have to memorize how this format is. We're going to do $5 saying, hey, oops, forgot this part, print $5 saying, hey, give me the 5th column. Okay, and then we're going to close the curly brace in single quote. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it gave us 26%, guys. So here we have our first column. This is our second column. This is our third column. This is our fourth column. And this is our 5th column, okay? So now we keep chopping out parts of this command, right? So first was all of this, right? And then we chopped it down to say, hey, just give me this line. And now we said, hey, just give me this part of this line. So now we're at the 26%. So let's look at the next part that we're chopping out here. So the last part of this pipe and string of commands is cut-d %-f1. Okay. So let's go back to our VirtualBox here. So we've done df-h, and we've piped that. Oops. Sorry, I hit enter instead of pipe on accident. And we've piped that into grep SDA1, and we've piped that into awk, single quote, curly brace, print $5, meaning the 5th column, close the curly brace, single quotation mark, and we're piping that into cut -d. We're saying, hey, we want to use the delimiter %sign. So this -d means delimiter, okay? We're going to do a -f1. We're going to see what happens here, okay? So what the cut command is going to do here, so we saw up here, here's where we're at now. We've got this 26%, right? So that's what we're down to. Now we're going to even cut this up even a little bit more. Okay? Let me actually move my screen up there a little bit. Alright. So we have df-h, pipe grep SDA1, pipe awk, print the 5th column, and then cut-d, and we're going to delimit it by the %sign. So it's going to look at this whole line, and it's going to go until it sees a %sign, which will be after the 26, right? We're going to say take the first field before that %sign, which can be 26. So let's see what happens here. So I'll hit enter, and now we're just down to 26. So we've taken all of that and we've cut it down to just 26, right? So if I go, oops, if I scroll up here, or actually let me clear my screen. This will be easier. I'm just going to do df-h. So we cut it from this whole thing down to just this line, which was SDA1, right? And then we cut it down to just this column with that awk command, right? Just the 26%. And then we cut it down even more with that cut command to just 26, right? So let's go back to our script here and let's look at that. So with this whole line here, we cut it all the way down to a single number, right? So if we look at our if statement here, we say if use, which we know right now is going to be 26, is greater than max, which is 95, then echo %used, use, and mail running out disk space, right? This statement is false, so nothing happens. It's going to end, fee, right? Because our value is 26 here. Obviously, 26 is not greater than 95, right? And these square brackets, guys, here means test everything in here to see if it's true, okay? If this is true, then do this. It's not, though, so we end it. Fee, do nothing, okay? Hopefully that makes sense, guys. Clever little way to kind of check disk space. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and type it in, just to prove to you that it works, right? Let me clear my screen, okay? I'm logged in as root, guys, right now, just so you know. Okay, so I'm going to do a vim, and we're going to name this check_disk.sh. All right, so we're going to start it off with that hash pling. So pound, !, /bin, /bash. We'll define our first variable, which is max. We're going to set that equal to 95, right? We're going to define our second variable, which is email. We're going to set that equal to server at 127.0.0.1. We're going to define our third variable, which is equal to SDA1. And we're going to assign our fourth variable. And guys, I want to point this out too. This is actually a tick mark that I'm about to put in. So that is different than a single quotation mark. I know it's hard to see the difference, but notice how it's slightly slanted, okay? That's a tick mark. Now it operates differently than a single quotation mark. It's saying take all of this as one thing inside of here, okay? So df -h pipe grep, and we're actually going to say our variable part, okay, space, pipe, pipe, awk, single quotation mark, curly brace, print the fifth column, curly brace, single quotation mark, okay? We're going to pipe that into cut, -d, single quotation mark, %, so we're delimiting it by the %, and -F1, and then we're going to close it with another tick mark, okay? And what I'm going to do before I move on here is I'm actually going to double check myself to make sure I typed in everything correctly. It doesn't hurt to take a little bit of time and make sure that everything looks right. And actually, I don't think there's supposed to be a space here, so I'm going to, delete that space. There we go, -F1, that looks a little better. Perfect, all right. So everything looks correct for the moment. So now we're going to go to our next part here. Which is going to be our if-then statement. So if, square bracket, the variable use is greater -gt than the variable max, close square bracket, semicolon, then echo % used is the use variable, which is defined up here, right? We define what that value is up here, and it's going to be different every time, right? Just depends what your actual disk is at on your system at the time of running the command. And we're going to pipe that into mail -s, so subject line, running out of disk space. We're going to say mail that to the variable mail. Fee, or end, finish. Okay? We're going to write and quit that. And before I can run it, I got to make it executable, right? So I'm going to give everyone executable rights for the check_disk script. Okay? Now we're going to run it. /check disk.
Thanks for watching. Feel free to add your questions as comments down below.
Oops. Okay, so it looks like I actually did type something wrong here. Let me go back to it. Got a typo in here somewhere. Oh, I know what I forgot. I forgot the 1 here. Field 1. There we go. Now let's do it. There you go. Okay. So it ran, guys. There's nothing to show because my disk isn't full. So it didn't email me. And it's not going to spit back an error saying, hey, your disk is full. So I can't show that part of it. And that is because, I'll show you here, I'll do a df-h. My SDA1 disk is only at 26% usage, right? So it's well below the 95 number that we set, okay? But I'm going to show you some extended functionality that we can do here, okay? So let's go back to our homework, and I'm actually going to pull up a different part here, which is setting up a cron job, okay? So we're going to look at this part now. So you don't want to have to run this every time you want to check your machine, right? You would just like it to go and tell you when your disk is full, right? You want to automate that part of it. So what we can do is we can set up a cron job. Okay, so we can set it to check on a monthly basis, a weekly basis, a daily basis, or we can even tell it to check, hourly. Okay. So let's look at how we would set these up. So let's look at the first one. Monthly basis, we want to check every third Wednesday of the month at 2 p.m. So remember, our cron job is set up by minute, hour, day of the month, day of the week. Then we put the username and command to be executed. Okay. Now on the day of the week, instead of doing 0 through 7, we can also do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, etc. But it's a little bit easier to put the numbers. And Sunday equals 0 or 7. So let's look at that part of it. So we're going to do the first one, the monthly basis, every third Wednesday of the month at 2 p.m. Okay, so let's go to our virtual box here. So let's look at where our script resides. I'm going to do pwd, we're in /root, okay? So that script will lie in /root /check underscore, disk, okay? So that's the full path of where this script is. Alright, that's important to know because you have to put the full path where the script is. Okay, so to edit your cron tab, we do cron tab-e. This is where we're going to put our cron jobs. My insert mode to edit it. So we're doing every third Wednesday of the month, okay, at 2 p.m. So minute, 0, 0, right? 2 p.m., so no minute, 0. Hour, remember it's in military time, so 2 p.m. would be 14. Day of the month, right? Every third Wednesday. Okay. So we're going to put 3. Actually, we can leave this one blank. We're just going to leave that one blank. Alright, we'll go ahead and put that as 3 because we want it as the third Wednesday, okay? Every third Wednesday of the month at 2 p.m. So month, we're just going to leave that as that. Okay, so just do any, or every month, right? And our next spot is day of the week. So if Sunday is 0, then Monday would be 1, Tuesday would be 2, and Wednesday would be 3. Okay, so we're going to put 3. The last part of this is username. So we created this script as root, so we're going to put root. And then remember, our script is in /root /check underscore disk -sh. So run it on the 0 minute of the hour, hour 14, which is 2 p.m., every third day of the month. Okay. Every month on Wednesday. Okay. We're going to run it as root. Root is the username. we're going to run the script, okay? Let's look at the other ones. Let's go back to our homework. So we can say every first Monday of the month at 1 p.m. Okay, let's go to our homework. So again, minute 0, 1 p.m., so that would be 13. Day of the month, every first Monday, 1. Okay. Month, any of the months, or all of the months. Okay, Monday would be 1, right? Sunday 0, so Monday is 1. And again, root / check _ disk.sh. Alright, let's look at the next one. Weekly basis, every Sunday at 3 a.m. Okay? So minute, 0 minute of the hour, okay? 3 a.m., so that's actually going to be 3, right? Day of the month, I'm going to leave that as blank, all right? Or every day. Okay, month, all the months. Okay, and then the day. Remember, Sunday can be 0 or 7, so we're going to go ahead and just put 0, and then root / check _ disk.sh. Alright, let's look at the next one. Daily basis, every single day at 1 p.m. Okay? So minute, 0. Hour, every day at 1 p.m. Remember, 1 p.m. is 13. Day of the month, every day. Month, every month. Okay? And day, every single day. So we're going to put all there. We're just going to put that as a star, meaning do it every day. Okay? And then root, and then /root for where our script resides, _ disk.sh. Okay. Let's look at our next one here. An hourly basis. So do it every single day, or do it every single day, every 8 hours. Okay. So let's go back to our virtual machine. So hourly basis. So minute, 0. Hour, we have to go every 8 hours. Okay? So how are we going to set that up, right? We want to go every 8 hours. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to use a special little character here. We're going to do that /8, and that's going to tell it do it every 8 hours. So at minute 0 past every 8th hour. Okay, so that's how we would set that up. Okay, now let's look at the next part of it, which is just simply we're doing it every 8 hours, right? So we're going to put stars for the rest of this. Okay, day of the month, all months, days, all days, right? And then username /root /check _ disk is the script that we're running, right? Perfect. So we could write and quit this. But I don't want to actually set up these cron jobs on the system. Okay. So let's go back to our homework. So that's all the different options we could do. We can even do, obviously, many variations of this, guys. Okay. But this just shows that the scripts can be powerful and they can be set up to do a lot of things. Okay. Guys, alternatively too, with the special character I showed you, we could even do, so if we go back to our virtual machine here, like some of those, it said every third Wednesday. Okay. So on here we could also do like this. That's going to say every day of the month, every third one. Okay. Or every third Wednesday. Or, sorry, that's the wrong spot. That's the day of the month. So we could actually just leave this as that and do */3, just like the other ones, right? Every third Wednesday of the month, every first Wednesday of the month. Okay, just like we did below with every 8 hours, right? So there's a lot you can do with cron jobs. And you can see how it's super helpful, all right? So hopefully you were able to kind of learn a lot from this, guys, see how scripts are useful, how we can set them up to do jobs for us, and how we can actually automate them with simple cron jobs just like this, okay? So looking forward to seeing you guys in the second homework assignment, or second project. See you guys then. What's up, guys? We're going to look at our final project here for Intro to Linux Admin, Intermediate Level. So what we have here is we have a cron job to back up a MySQL database, okay? That's all this really is, although we see a lot going on here, right? But it's a little bit more simple than you think, okay? So let's break this down piece by piece, part by part, okay? So if we notice here, this first part here kind of looks like a cron job, right? And you'd be right, that's what this is. This is a cron job for a MySQL backup, okay? So we have 0 here. So on the 0 minute of the 0 hour, which is really just midnight, right? Because it goes in 0 to 24 format. So 0 is going to be midnight. And run every day, every month. Or every day of the month, every month, every day. Okay, so this is running every day at midnight, basically, is what this is saying here. And then we have the variable date. And we're setting that equal to a long string of stuff here. Okay, what does this mean? Well, we have this first part here, and you'll notice this is a path to a file called date, right? Well, what that actually is that's the full path of the date command, okay? So let me show you guys something here. I think we've talked about the which command before. If not, I'm going to show you now. So we run the which command, W-I-C-H, W-H-I-C-H, and then another command such as date. It gives you the full path of the date command, which is user, or USR bin date, right? So all the commands actually reside within your system, guys. They all reside within a file, and all those files, have a full path to them. Okay, the system has to see where these commands are and look into the actual executable file and the binary file and see what's actually going on there, and it reads that and it does whatever the command is. Okay, so all that means, guys, is that every command has a full path to it. The date command happens to be /usr/bin/date. So if we go back to our project here, the reason I told you that is because when we do cron jobs and we list a command in it, we need to use the full path of the command in the cron job. We do this one for security, okay? Because if we just do the date command, hackers can actually, get in there and basically hijack the command because it doesn't have the full path in it, right? They can put something false before it and mess the system up. And 2, we want to actually tell the system exactly what command we're using, okay? And then after that, we have a weird format set up here. We have all these different numbers and symbols and percentage signs and colons and things like that, okay? So let's actually run this command and see what's going on here, all right? So first of all, we're just running the date command. That's all that full path is doing, right? And then we're formatting that how we want, okay? So we're doing a...
If you have enjoyed watching this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.
Quotation mark plus, we're saying percentage Y, capital Y means put in the year, the full year, so all four numbers. And we're going to put in a backslash, and we're going to say percentage sign, and then we want the month, so percentage sign M, and then another backslash. And we're saying put in the day, so percentage sign lowercase d, right? And then we're going to separate those with a dash, and we're going to say backslash. Now, put in the hour, capital H, okay? Then we're putting a colon, and say now, what we want to do is we want to put in the minute, okay? So colon, and then percentage, capital M, and then colon, and then say now, put in the second. So percentage, capital S. Let's hit enter. Oops. I think I forgot something here. Oh yeah, I forgot a very important symbol here, and that's the quotation mark. I forgot to close that out. There we go. So now it puts out this nice format for us. Oops, I even put in an extra slash there that I didn't want. There we go. So it spits out this nice format for us, right? We have the year 2020, the month 08, the day 29, then we have the 18th hour, 32 minute, and 39 second, all right? This happens to be my actual date and time right now, okay? And if we go back up to that command, and I can put any type of symbols or delimiters I want here. I could put on these as well some backslashes, right? And then when I hit enter, you'll notice now, well, this hour and minute and second have backslashes, right? But that doesn't look very good, and that's kind of confusing to read. It might be confusing as to what we're actually trying to say, so we're going to keep it the other way. So we're going to say plus, percentage, capital Y, because we want full year. If I did a lowercase y, I would only do 2 zeros, so I want 2020. Backslash, percentage M, backslash, percentage G for day. So year, month, and day. I'm going to separate the day, the date, and the time with the dash. And I'm going to say percentage capital H. I'm going to say colon, because that's usually how a time is written out, right, is with colons in between it. Say percentage M for minute, colon, and percentage capital S for second, right? Oops. Again, I forgot that important quotation mark. We got to end it with quotation mark. So that looks like a lot cleaner format, right? So let's go back to our project here. So that was a long explanation for what's going on here. Basically, all we're doing is we're setting a variable, date, equal to the date command formatted in the way we just showed it, okay? So all this is doing is it's giving the date variable the date command of the current day, today, okay? Whenever this happens to run, it's going to give you the exact year, month, and day, and hour, minute, second, okay? And then what we have going on here, guys, we have a semicolon. Now, I did talk about this before. You might not remember, though. So when we do a semicolon like this, all we're doing is we're saying, hey, complete this command, and on a new command line, we're going to run this command now, okay? So like I just said over here, guys, what we have here is the full path of the command MySQL dump, okay? I can't show this to you guys because our servers aren't configured to run MySQL servers, right? These are very simple machines that we're using. They're not set up as MySQL servers. But this is the command you would use, and what this command does is it actually takes a MySQL server and it dumps the files, right? And what we have here is -u for username, and you would type in your username for your MySQL server, and -p, and then the password that you use for that server, and then the database name, okay? So what's going on here is we're logging in using our username and our password to this database, and we're running the command MySQL dump, or dumping the files, okay? And we're going to redirect that dump into our /user/home /uppercase user /database name. So basically, we're just dumping that into our home directory here, and we're going to name it whatever the database name is. So let's say the database was Kevin's database. So it would just be /user/home /kdowns /Kevin's database backup _. And here, we're calling that variable that we set here, right? So we just put in the date that we ran this job, which we verified here, okay? So if I were to run this today, what would happen is it would spit out this date here, so this part. But this time would actually be different here. Since we're running the cron job at midnight, it would actually show 00:00:00, or it might be a little bit different. It might have actually ran it at, a couple seconds past midnight, so it might actually be 2 seconds past midnight. But you get the idea, right? We're setting up how we want to name these backups so that when we go to look at them, right, we know exactly what database the backup's for and at what date and time the backup was made, right? And we end it with the extension .SQL, so we know it's a SQL database file, right? Okay, and we have another colon here, semicolon, meaning, okay, so we've run this command here, all of this. On a new line, we're going to gzip that file that we just created. Okay. So guys, like I said, this is actually a lot more simple than we thought it was, right? This is a simple cron job to create a backup of your MySQL database, right? So it's running at midnight. We're setting a variable called date, and we're filling that variable with the value of the date command, and then whatever year, month, and day, and hour, minute, second that this cron job actually runs. And then we're saying also, after that, run the MySQL dump command, and we're going to log into the database using our username and our password to this database. So we're logging into this database with the username and password, and we're running the MySQL dump server. And we're going to redirect that output to our home directory and this file here, which is going to be named, whatever the database name is, backup underscore, and we're using the variable date, which is here, so it'll get filled in with whatever day, time, hour, minute, second that it's being run. We're running it with the SQL extension, okay? And saying once that's done, then go ahead and gzip that file that it just created. And that's it, guys. It's creating a backup, it's gzipping that file for you, and it's running this automatically so you never have to worry about it. You can have ease of mind. This is going to run every day at midnight, and you will always have a backup of your MySQL files, right? So that's awesome, guys, right? That's nice. That's why automation is such a nice thing. You don't have to remember every night at midnight to get on, log on, create a backup. This will do it for you. And that's why scripting like this and cron jobs are so useful and what really sets you apart from other Linux admins, guys. So hopefully this made sense and it allowed you to realize, how you can start using all these commands and cron jobs and scripts together to really start automating processes for you guys. If you need a little bit extra help, remember, go to those PowerPoints, look at the end of the slides, follow those links for monthly and weekly plans for tutoring sessions for Linux administration, okay? And also those are private sessions for the Linux and Bash scripting, okay? Because I know this Bash scripting is a lot, guys, and it can take a lot of practice. We do have courses available for it, so definitely register for those if you want to get a little bit better grasp on it. In conjunction with those private tutoring sessions, you guys are going to be set off great, okay? So thanks for joining me, guys. Hopefully you learned a lot, and I hope to see you in other courses.